All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening. And thank you all for joining us tonight. It is such a pleasure to see so many faces on here to come and learn about the Tower Gardens and how they work in a learning environment. My name is Nicole McGibney. I am a Tower Garden representative and owner of Gib Grows. And I run a gardening initiative that supports all types of gardening, but just inspiring people to live healthier lives and grow their own. It's a very rewarding job, and I get to do really fun presentations like this. So getting started, we won't waste any time. I'm going to share my screen here so that you all can see this presentation. And I'm just going to go over this. There's a lot of information in a little amount of time. So we have posted in the chat the presentation link. So please go up and make sure you grab that so you can view this at a later date as well. So one thing that I love talking about are the benefits of Tower Gardens. These are just some of the main ones: no digging, no weeding, no pesticides, and absolutely no green thumb needed. Before I worked with Tower Gardens, I said I had a red thumb because by trade, I'm a graphic designer and red is the opposite of green. So I could kill a cactus. I just was not good at anything. So I found out that these systems are just so incredibly easy that you don't need to have that assistance. So some of the other benefits, and some of these are going to be combined, so I won't be going through all of them, but what a unique teaching tool to have in the classroom. You can see on the left here, Stephen Ritz, who runs the Green Bronx machine with a student in a Tower Garden in the classroom. And what we've seen with these is that it creates a healthy way of thinking for students and habits, healthy habits that they want to take home and share with their families. And right now, with everything going on in the world, we know that it is so hard to keep these kids engaged and excited about something. And imagine being able to take something from a seed all the way out to a plant and have them use that in either in a lesson or in a snack. It just gives them such a unique tool in order to do that. We love that these can be used in science clubs, extracurricular clubs like agriculture. Down here we have the FHA, I believe it's called, and they benefit for their clubs through sales. And also they do community benefit work through donating to local entities, nursing homes, restaurants, or even hospitals. The curriculum. Now we will go over this a little bit more in depth in a minute, but we offer a free curriculum. You could go on right now. Any teacher, any person could go on and get this curriculum. It is free, it is engaging, it's beautiful, and it's fun. So that's a huge benefit for everybody. And one other major thing is getting your towers paid for. It's not a guarantee, but there are so many grants out there for agricultural STEM entities, things like that, where you can get local, state, government, federal, national, USDA. There's so many options out there for teachers to access grants to pay for their towers. So those are just a few fun things and benefits to get you really excited about what you're going to see. Some of the reasons that we absolutely love Tower Gardens: you grow more in less time with fewer resources. These are so low maintenance that when I tell you what the maintenance is later, you're going to be shocked. You can grow these inside the classroom, and they either come on wheels or they have a wheel attachment, and they can go wherever your learning is happening. If you're in a team of teachers, you can take it from one classroom to the next easily. All you have to do is wheel it. You'll get growing support. The community that we have is just incredible. To be able to call anybody on our team to get access to how if something's going wrong or something's going so great, or you have a question about supplies that you may need. We're here. We are in it for the long haul, and it's fun to make sure that it's a successful program for you as well. And then, like we said, you'll get free access to the learning plans, which are free right now. All right. So next up, I'm going to talk a little bit about towers. I know a lot of you are familiar with the towers, but we use what's called aeroponic technology. And I know a lot of you are familiar with hydroponics, which is based in water. So the roots are suspended in water constantly. This is a little bit different. The roots are either sprayed or rained on to create a nice environment, but not too moist. And then it uses oxygen in its off cycles to help boost the growth of the plant. So with using the amount of water, you save 98%. So imagine how much money you would save just from normal gardening if you ended up getting a tower. The reduced footprint and space issues. I hope we have some math fans out there or math teachers, because this baffles me. I just talked to a man not too long ago in Indiana, and he's growing over 5,000 plants in 80 square feet. And that just blows my mind. It is something that we as people don't have a lot of space anymore. I know I live in zone 7B in Georgia, and the ground is red clay or granite from Stone Mountain. So any type of growing outdoors has to be done in a raised bed, or you need so much equipment to bring in soil and manure and compost. This does none of that. You literally just hook it up, and it saves so much space. And then my favorite, grows 3 times faster and 30% more nutritionally dense. Now, we aren't the ones that told you that. The University of Mississippi did an incredible study, and they pitted our tower gardens against soil. And what they found were all of those results. The 2% of water grows at least by an average of 30%. And then it grows about 3 times faster. Y'all, that's just an average. It could be faster or slower than that, but that's the average. And that's an incredible turnaround time, especially if you consider a semester, you can harvest twice in one semester, maybe more, depending on what you're doing. So I want to go over a couple of the models that we have. These are the two. The Flex is what we typically would coin the outdoor one. That was the first model. It grows 20 plants, and it has a lot of cool accessories that can go on it in order to make it a custom growing experience. And then the Home was kind of the upgrade, the souped up version, if you will. And it is 32 plants. So it has 16 regular plants and 16 microgreens or baby greens. And then it comes with a lot of the attachments. So it comes with your wheels, it comes with your lights, and it has this really cool water level indicator, so you know when you need to refill your water. Those two options both come with everything you see in the top right here. The Tower Tonics, the pH kit with the up and down adjusters, and the seedling kit. All of your seedling kits will come with lettuce, greens, and herbs. It's always different. We always love getting these seedling kits. And these seeds are USDA organic, non-GMO, very important to have integrity of seeds when you're growing your own. All right, so real quick, just a little bit, a lot of people ask how they're made, what they're made of. They're actually made by an extremely durable UV protected plastic. So it can withstand years and years, decades of integrity and not leach into what you're growing, because nobody wants that. And if anybody's ever been to Epcot, and I hope y'all notice this if you go next time, go to Tomorrowland and you'll see what Tim Blank helped create there. He's the creator of Tower Garden, and that's where he started and got his experience. And it's really cool to see it evolve and how he's created this. And then, like I said before, we have all these really cool attachments that can go in them, so you can create such a custom experience. The water, so your bottom is the basin. On the Flex, it's 20 gallons. And on the Home, it's 13 gallons. So what it does is it pumps the water all the way up to the top, and you have this little basin at the top, and every section has holes in it. So it essentially rains on your roots, and it uses the air and the water intermittently. And what's so great about Tower Gardens, they get a timer with them that's set for indoor or outdoor. So you don't have to guess, you don't have to set a timer, it's already ready for you. And then what you do is you feed it when you fill it every time. You don't have to worry about when you need to put nutrients in. You do it when you fill it up. And then once a week, you check the pH. It's super easy. It's a way to help the kids engage with the lesson, and you can check it for pH as many times as you want. It doesn't matter. So you can do it 3 times, 4 times in a day. You're just taking a little 5 milliliters out of it. So very, very easy to maintain, very easy to upkeep. And why does it work so well? We talk a lot about how different this is from soil. Soil nowadays has so many environmental toxins, and it's sad because a lot of us just really enjoy getting our hands dirty and getting out there in the weeds, but you won't have weeds here. You won't have the pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, all these things that try to boost the production, because the water and the air are doing that for you. They boost it to make it faster. And it's so much faster that it's even faster than the fertilized stuff that is at the grocery store. Really insane. So what we like to say is that it's better than organic, because the flavor that comes off of this tower, it's absolutely crazy, y'all. It's just so much fun. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna watch just a short 3-minute clip of Severin interviewing a teacher that she's worked with. So we're only going to watch about 3 minutes of this, but in the chat, Heather has posted the link to the YouTube video, and y'all have to check this out and see what Sam and the Allegheny school system are doing.
Hello, my name is Severin Garrett, and my husband and I live in North Carolina. We have a Tower Garden farm with 100 towers in it. So today for our focus, we are focused on educators, homeschool moms, and people who want to teach children about growing food. So I thought it would be really fun if I could interview a local teacher that I've been working with for, gosh, seems like about 8 months, maybe a little bit more, because he's just had a recent experience with adding 2 towers to 2 different schools. So let's get started by me introducing Sam McClure. Sam is with the Allegheny County School System, which is up here in North Carolina. And Sam, get us started by telling us a little bit about your role with the school system.
So I teach CT, it's Careers in Technology, at 2 different schools. It's Piney Creek School and Lake Creek School, if you ever get up here. At the middle school level, the CT class for Careers in Technology, really we focus on trying to get the kids a little bit of everything. So we try to get them to see all kinds of different careers, possible jobs for the future, that kind of thing. And we also try to throw in some of the cutting edge technology. That's where stuff like our tower gardens come in, and we get to do some 3D printing and drones, robotics, like everything we can find that will really get the kids excited about something they can do in the future.
Excellent, excellent. So what I think I'm hearing you say is that you're trying to get the middle school students excited about technology that they
Yes.
can possibly go into in the future. Are you encouraging them to go to a technical school or after high school, or just go straight from high school into a technical career? Is there one or the other?
It depends on what kind of job they're interested in. So like if they want to be a doctor or something, of course, they need the 8 years, they need everything. If their real goal is to like go and be a farmer, then there's not a whole lot of schooling they need for that. So we encourage them to go through at the high school, they can get some certificates and stuff and then go right into the workforce. So really, we try to help them, what is your goal? And then here's the college you need for that. So we don't try to push them too hard for anything if it doesn't seem to fit their job that they want.
Love it. So you're really listening to them and trying to cater their further education to whatever their goals are in terms of the job market.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I thought it would be fun to show you guys a photo of Sam with his students. I got to present to his students before the school year ended in the spring. So this is a fun photo that I'm just going to pop up. And Sam, why don't you tell us a little bit about these students, the kind of the age range, and obviously we've got them.
All right. Well, thank you. I cannot wait for everybody to see the rest of that, Severin. That was just so great. Now, do you want to talk just a little bit about your farm, your experience, and what you've done with Tower Gardens in schools?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Nicole. This is a real treat to get to speak to educators, homeschool moms, and I even have a few grandparents that use the Tower Garden so they can teach their kids when they're with them. And they love, kind of encouraging the children towards healthier foods. And we know that the kids who grow their own food on a tower specifically eat more, interesting foods. So I've had moms say to me, well, he would never try kale before, but because we're growing it on the Tower Garden, he wants to try it. And that's what we're experiencing. And you'll hear in that interview, if you finish it out, Mr. McClure explains that these kids are willing to eat some creative veggies because they're growing it on their Tower Garden in the school. So Sam McClure is just a local teacher that they have a grant called Gear Up that they can go after funding. And his school administrator allowed me to come in and give them a presentation, and we found funding that way for Mr. McClure, who handles 2 different middle schools. We've just gotten another request from another teacher within this school system to have one as well. So I love that there's so much funding out there for the educators. And every school I have worked with has found funding. They have not taken money out of their own budget. I have worked with in the neighborhood of about 35 schools now, but I've been doing this for 10 years too. So that tells you that the teachers or the educators are so receptive to having a creative tool in the classroom. And I think many of these teachers have raised beds in their back area somewhere, so they're already growing. So this is not to replace that, it's to complement it. And one of the things I want to point out is that the teachers who do have other growing technologies or, in soil growing, they love the flexibility of having the tower in the classroom. They don't have to worry about weather. They don't have to worry about extra chaperones to get the kids around the school to the garden. And they just love the freedom it gives them to have it in the classroom. And several of my teachers are sharing the Tower Garden across multiple classrooms as well. So they kind of say, for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to do this type of curriculum. I'd like to keep the tower, and then you can have it later, or they switch off certain days. So I just got so excited about talking about educators. I didn't share about our personal experience, Nicole, but you've been here. We have a large greenhouse. It's 30 feet wide by 72 feet long. And we put in a concrete pad in a hard polycarbonate greenhouse. And we have 100 tower gardens, and our tower gardens are 8 feet tall. That's the commercial unit with 44 plants per tower. So you can do the math. Lots of plants growing in our greenhouse. And our primary focus or purpose is to grow really healthy, densely nutritious food for our local community. So we provide it to our 2 local hospitals, and we provide it to a couple of restaurants, and then we sell at the local farmers markets, and we give away 10% of our food, which is very important to us. So we have the local food closet, a women's recovery center, and a men's drug addiction center that we give to every week of the year. And I love that they're getting really healthy, nutritious foods. So we moved here from Atlanta 2 years ago, and we had the passion and the purpose of creating a farm that could grow really densely nutritious food for our local community. And it all started with us having one on our back deck 10 years ago when they first came out. And we went and checked it out at a conference. I think we were in Phoenix. We saw it and we fell in love with it. And we had always had a black thumb, kind of like you said, Nicole, you had a red thumb. We had a black one. We killed everything. So we were super skeptical. And then who would know that 10 years later, we would have a farm with 100 towers. And I'll finish out with one thought that is kind of interesting. We also have a nonprofit called Kale for Kenya. And our nonprofit is set up to get nutrition to kids in Nairobi, Kenya, who are in an orphanage, and they're HIV kids. So they really need more nutrition than most kids. So we have a tower over there, and it's our desire to have a farm over there. But as you might realize, if you know anything about Kenya, is they have a lot of power outages in that area of the world. They love that we use so little water, because Nicole mentioned that earlier, 98% less water. I mean, that's huge because they do have a water shortage, but they are having trouble with power right now and keeping it consistent on a 24-hour basis. So we're playing around with solar panels and different things that we can do. Right now, we're just at 1 tower, and we'd like to be in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 towers for this orphanage. So that's been our experience. Is there anything I didn't cover, Nicole?
No, Severin, I just want to thank you so much, not only for being here tonight and telling us about everything y'all do, but Greenhouse Towers was just an experience that I hope everybody can see one day. What you and James have created there and what you're doing in your community, it gives us hope that the good people are fighting the good fight and making sure that people get the best produce. And thank you for that.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Now, next up is Miss Lynn Henry. Lynn, I would love for you to chat a little bit about your experience with Tower Gardens and in communities and everything that you have done as well.
Great. Yeah, one of the things just listening to Severin that really struck me, I don't know if you can see me. Can you see me? Okay, good.
Sure can.
I can't see me, which is fine. Is the possibilities. And you see even just the way that Mr. McClure can take a kid and give him the possibilities using this. If he has a science, they have Juice Plus gives Tower Gardens to some boys and girls clubs, and they have seen kids get jobs in horticulture and culinary. And then with Mr. McClure, he's talking about the science side. So you see the possibilities are really endless as much as you think about them. I'm going to drill down on a couple of schools. You may have seen my video in the Facebook chat about the special ed school. Just to expand a little bit about that, they did get their grant through Whole Foods. It was a Whole Foods grant. And and when she first applied, she did not receive it, but the teacher bought a Tower Garden, used it, applied again and told about all the things she had done, and then did receive it. And then she took the other Tower Garden home for her own use as she had bought it. I also had a first grade that used the Tower Garden, and they just put it right outside. They had no lights on it, put it right outside their back door area, where it was kind of an, if you can, courtyard isn't the right word, alley is really a better word. And they had like air conditioning units back there. It was not attractive. And they just put that kind of in front of one of the air conditioning units. And so the kids could see that looking out the window, and then they could easily just open the door, do their lesson right there. And the kids really loved it. And then the school that I've worked in for a long time, probably 4 years, is a 3rd grade classroom. And before COVID, I would go in maybe 3 or 4 times a year, kind of help them as they would start to plant. And the kids all got very involved in planting. You know, we would talk about what the seedling was. We started with seedlings there. And the kids would go and plant them, and they would smell them beforehand. And then they would be watching, you know, as it grew, because it was in the classroom. It had lights. I would go in another time and harvest for smoothies. They would make smoothies with what they had, and also harvest with and they would make salads another time. And there's one kid that particularly struck me. I knew his parents, but when we came in initially, he was not willing to eat a salad at all. And then later I saw that his family had been doing a raised bed in their backyard. And I just love the fact that here's a kid who wasn't going to touch anything green, but later could be kind of the expert to his little brother and little sister about having a garden. And those are the kind of things that just really crank my motor and are just absolutely fun to watch. So that's just a little bit about some Tower Gardens in schools. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much, Lynn. I mean, between just the schools that you and Severin have worked with alone, I mean, that's upwards of 40, 50 schools. And I can't even imagine how many lives y'all have touched and how much healthy living you've inspired. So thank y'all for that. We all aspire to do that. So, wow. Thank you. Next up, we have Miss Heather. She is our resident homeschooling mama and Tower Garden representative. And I just wanted to ask you, Heather, a few questions about your experience and homeschooling, if you don't mind.
Of course.
All right. So first, tell us about your kids, their ages, and what grades they're in.
Okay, thanks for having me, Nicole.
Yeah.
We have 3 kids. We have a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 9-year-old. And so kindergarten, 1st grade, and 3rd grade. So yeah.
Wow. Good for you, Mama. I know that probably keeps you busy most days.
Yes, we're very busy.
Now, tell us how long you've been homeschooling.
Okay, so we started last year. We've always kind of wanted to homeschool, and with the uncertainty of everything, we just said, let's just try it. And so we just jumped in and we enjoyed it so much. We are doing it again this year. So we're excited.
That's so much fun. I know that so many families made that switch last year. My own family had to make that choice based off immunity status of one of their children. And to be able to make that decision for your family, I know it was probably a hard one, but I know it's been so rewarding for you. So I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. We've enjoyed it.
Oh, I bet. So tell us, do you guys use the lesson plans?
We do. We have used, this is our 2nd week of school now. And so last week we actually started and we just did something real simple. We did an art lesson and we just drew our tower. We sat outside and kind of did an abstract view of the tower. And then we started with our, the end of the week, we started with our lessons from the Tower Garden website. And so what I really appreciated about that was we had 3 different things going with different ages. They really make it easy for you to kind of tailor fit what you need. And so my youngest was doing some sorting and math, kind of simple math. And then my middle was kind of doing something similar. And then my oldest was writing. And then this week we just did the same lesson, and it was language arts. And it was just fun because it kind of, you get into talking about other things. Like my oldest was like, okay, well, where did gardening start? What's the history of gardening? And so it just is really great for conversation. So that's one of the things we really have enjoyed about it so far.
Oh, that sounds great. And I know you sent me some pictures. I loaded them and didn't look at them, but it seems like they're homework. So we're going to look at those in just a second. So tell us about your tower. Which tower did you get and what do you have growing on it?
Okay, so we have the Tower Garden Home, which is the smaller version, and we actually have it growing outside right now. That's usually meant for inside, so we don't have the lights yet, but my intent is to one day bring it inside. But it's doing great outside right now. So we have it on our front porch. We're mainly growing lettuce, and we have basil, and then we have Swiss chard and something else. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. So we have all that good greens, really. So
yeah, absolutely. They do really, really well on the tower, indoor or outdoor. So wow. And for everybody, Heather is in Alabama. So she has a nice long growing season. So depending on, I think it's probably, you would have to pull it in maybe at the first frost is maybe end of October, November.
right.
I know our followers from up north are like, holy cow, you guys, seriously. But yes, you just pull it in at the first frost, whenever that is in your part of the country.
That's right. And that's when we'll get our lights. Hopefully we'll get those before and grow inside in the wintertime. So we're looking forward to that.
Oh, so much fun. So how do you think the tower has changed the way that you homeschool and your kids learn?
Okay, so last year we started in a desk. We taught upstairs in our classroom. And, it was just worksheets and just the normal thing. And so this year, last week, we were able to start outside. It was beautiful. I think it just helps them to have a more hands-on approach too. And so that's one thing that I've appreciated, that we can be outside, and it's just fun for kids to, not get to be in a desk all the time, I think. And I like that they can see the seeds to the table. So like they saw it planted, they've been watching it grow, they go and pick it, and then we wash it and we eat it, and they actually eat it. So that's I think Severin mentioned or Lynn one that when they grow, they see it and they actually do eat it. So that's the good part for the mamas, I think.
Oh, that is so great. Thank you so much for answering those questions. You are admired, and thank you for helping teach your kids and teach us how fun it is to use Tower Gardens in a learning environment. I want to share with y'all 2 of Heather's littles, the 2 older ones, did what I am calling reporting from Tower Garden News. So please enjoy this adorable video.
Hey, what are your names and grades?
My name is Abby Kate Carroll, and I'm in 1st grade. My name is Brooks Carroll, and I'm in 3rd grade.
What do y'all like about the Tower Garden?
I like how we can just go up there and it's like right there, and we don't have to walk all the way down to our garden. I like one time my dad was like, hey, I'm gonna go look at some outside the fridge, and I'm like, no, just walk out there, pick it off the Tower Garden, and then you'll have it. And he's like, okay, good idea, Abby. So that's what he did, and I like to just walk out there and pick it up. And I also like how we don't have to weed it every other Saturday. Yes. Like our other garden we have, you have to weed it, so that's good.
Okay, what do y'all like about the curriculum that we do with the Tower Garden?
It's fun and it helps you learn more about the Tower Garden, and yeah. I like the curriculum. It helps me, like before my mom got it, I was like, wait, what is this? What is this? What is this? And now the curriculum helps me learn more about it. So yeah.
Good. Okay, what do y'all have growing in your Tower Garden, and what do you like to eat from it?
We have Swiss chard lettuce and some mixed greens and some, I think, I don't remember, but I like to eat the lettuce.
The lettuce. What do you like to eat, Abby Kate?
The lettuce. I really like the lettuce. Yeah. We have some Swiss chard in there too.
Thank y'all.
Oh my gosh, Heather, you are so blessed. They are adorable. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And we look forward to
What are your
seeing
names?
all the more lesson plans that y'all send me. All of these. Holy cow, look at these. So these are some of Brooks and Sarah's and Abby Kate's. So here's their homework that they did. These are part of the lesson plans. So much fun. All right. So speaking of the lesson plans, I want to just go over a little bit about them. We have a teacher's guide that is about 12 pages long, and it is just completely to help you get acclimated. I know that sometimes hearing aeroponics or hearing a different sort of technology can be daunting, but when I tell you it is the easiest method of growing, trust me, it is. And what's so great, there's curriculum for almost every subject, or you can maneuver it and manipulate it to how you want. All the lesson plans are NGSS and CCSS aligned. And there's everything from coloring pages to writing prompts and flavors and fertilization, phytochemicals, just so many amazing lesson plans at your disposal right now. You could just go get them right now at the Tower Garden website. So that brings me into a little bit of the fun things that you can do with Tower Gardens. I know a lot of you asked about engagement and how the kids stay engaged and what you do in the community. And here's just a few things. So one of the schools I've worked with up in Massachusetts, they have a culinary program, and it's just such a great concept to see these kids take something from a seed to a plate. They make pestos, they make dried herbs. They're going to do things within their community. And the school is special needs and restricted learning. So they have the ability to really make an impact on these kids in a better way than they would ever imagine. And then seeing the kids integrate in the community by selling the produce and raising money for the school just really gives the kids this sense of community and sense of pride. And that's why they thrive. We always encourage and challenge them in their programs to create something that may be out of the box. And here's some of the things that they have shouted out to us. I mean, watermelon mint cubes, I would like some of those. Rosemary French gray, oh my goodness, y'all. Like, I mean, just some of these ideas that you can incorporate into a culinary type program or science type program. The science has specific lessons in the lesson plan area, but you can also do really cool things like use your science club or your produce and look at it underneath a microscope. Look at it at different phases of growth and see what it's doing. You can use your produce in the cafeteria. We have schools that they put the broccoli in the cups. These are pictures from schools that use towers. Everything in those pictures were grown on towers. Everything, lettuce, tomatoes, cabbage, broccoli. It's just fantastic how many things can grow on these towers. Literacy lessons. These are so cool. I don't know if we have any San Francisco Giant fans, but this middle sheet here, there's Tower Gardens at the Giant Stadium. And then if any of you have ever traveled through Chicago's O'Hare Airport, make sure you stop in and see the Tower Garden farm there as well. But these lessons are really great for the kids too. So one more thing before we answer the questions, I do want to talk a little bit about what the towers grow. That's typically a pretty common question. The only things they don't grow are root vegetables, vines, bushes, and trees. That's the general list. So anything that's a plant, a produce, a vegetable, there's a lot of fruits. There's strawberries, there's watermelons, cantaloupes. Could you imagine having watermelon in your classroom? How cool would that be? And then it also does every single herb, and then ornamental or edible flowers. So you could use this even in a home ec type situation and teaching the kids how to care for flowers, and or using it in your culinary program to enhance flavors with edible flowers. So I hope we've inspired y'all tonight to dive more in if you have them or if you want them. Definitely before we answer the questions, just reach out to the person who invited you here tonight and just get more information. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. So we're gonna start here. We did an attendance roll call on the Facebook event, and we had a few questions come up that I thought would be great to start with. And then Heather will let us know if we have any additional questions in the chat. So first up, Emily asked us, what is the most successful crop? So right now, we always say indoor is lettuces, greens, and herbs. They thrive so well inside and under the lights that we have. Now, that's not to say that other things cannot grow and flourish inside, but your flowering and vining type plants like watermelons and things like those do take some extra pollination lessons. So those are important. And like we tell a lot of people, gardening is never 100%. So you will have issues here and there. Some seeds may sprout, some crops may or may not work, but it's all fun and it's all part of the learning process. All right, next up, Miss Tara, I hope you're still on the call. She was asking a few questions. So about daily care, what's really great about these in the daily care is when you see something, you take care of it. It's not necessarily a daily thing. So when you see that your lettuce is ready to harvest, you harvest it. If you see some sort of buildup or something happening, you clean it. It's very, very low maintenance. And like we said earlier, you check for pH once a week. So it's very easy to clean. It's very easy to check the pH, and the students can do it all. You can sit back, you can reap the benefits of the tower and also teach the kids responsibility at the same time. Where to purchase seeds and seedlings. So this is such a great question. Tower Garden offers seedling providers on their website. So you can choose one that's close to you. Because we are so close to Greenhouse Towers, Severin's Farm, that is where we get our seedlings from. But there are preferred and promoted seedling farmers on the Tower Garden website. And then for seeds, there are a lot of seed manufacturers online. My favorite is Botanical Interest, just because I know they're non-GMO and USDA organic and heirloom seeds. Like I said earlier, we really try to get as clean of seeds to start, because that's what we want to continue a clean path of nutrients versus one that could have been tainted from environmental toxins. Uses in a 5K classroom. So this is great. The curriculum. You can use that curriculum. It is based off K through 8, but you can also manipulate it for grades higher than 8th grade. But that lesson plan is amazing. And then Stephen Ritz from the Green Bronx Machine has also come out with a program that is for purchase, but there's a lot more lessons included in there as well. We've kind of talked about getting the kids hands-on, harvesting, cleaning, planting, doing all of that. And then summer cleanup, so easy. So each section comes off and you just clean it out. A lot of people just use baking soda and vinegar, and it's a little bit of an abrasive and it cleans the tower really well. You just kind of stay on top of that. The food grade plastic is really easy to clean. There may be some discoloration, but also my discoloration is green, and that's just chlorophyll. And I love seeing that. All right, management and care, Ms. Kylie Davis. We basically have talked about management and care, and then harvesting. I'm gonna put up a video here in just one second of Lynn harvesting and showing you a tips and tricks on that. And then other uses in the classroom and community. So great news. We kind of sort of went over that, but I hope that in me sharing some of these ideas, that it sparks some new ideas in your brain. These are so manipulative in any situation. They work in any classroom, any restaurant, any entity. I've seen them at corporations. There's just so many ways to incorporate them in. Maintenance when teachers don't have a lot of time. Miss Roberta, I get it. I don't know how y'all have all the time that you have to even grade lessons and make lessons and have things in your classroom. It just blows my mind. And that's why we offer this solution that is low maintenance. You don't have a lot of time to do this, so you do it with the students, and the students handle that for you. And then learning resources and how to harvest. Miss Amy, yes, those learning resources, again, are free. They're on the website. You can just go to towergarden.com and hit School Gardens and scroll down, and it'll tell you about the lesson plans and then give you a link to all the PDFs that you can just download at will. And then grants, learning methods, and snack options, Miss Kim. So grants we've talked about, and I really implore y'all, definitely check your local entities. I mean, you can check VAs, you can check other community groups. You can check your city government, state, USDA, FDA, online. If you're a special needs school, there is more, where we searched in Massachusetts, there were a lot for special needs. Just use a lot of your local resources first. But I will tell you, the cost of these towers are so minimal that in a school of about 2,000 kids, if every single kid brought $1, you could have 3 classrooms of towers. And that is, I mean, $1 a kid. That is, it's such a low maintenance, low cost solution that really has such a high impact. Snack options. Y'all, there's so many snack options to pull straight off this tower. Cucumbers grow fantastically on towers. I'm a little biased because that's what I love to grow on mine too. But cucumbers are so versatile that we always recommend like lettuce boats or little cucumber cups or stacks, or, you know, with just a piece of cheese in the middle, or something that the kid will be able to have that nice crunch and something that they will appreciate and understand that they grew that. And I think you'd find they'd be a lot more willing to try the things that they are seeing grow. Our daughter is 4.5 and refuses to eat vegetables unless they come off the Tower Garden. And we were just in the middle of a 6-month move since we were building, and our tower is back up and she is already wondering when we can harvest. I said, just 3 weeks, that's it. It grows really fast. Just give us 3 weeks. So you'd be really surprised how amped up these kids get about eating what comes off the tower. We're going to watch this quick video from Lynn about tips on how to harvest, and then we'll check and see if there's any more questions in the chat that we need to answer.
Hey folks, just a few little tips. This is Lynn here with my tower garden. I've got some new, I've got some old, but I was just going to show you a few things that I have found really helpful. Kitchen scissors are great. I will just cut my, my produce, and literally I put it in a bowl and then I cut it up into a glass bowl, and that keeps it really well, keeps it fresh for a long time. What I'm going to do with this right here is take it over to my parents, and they will have a salad that they can add to. And they have the beginnings of the salad. It's already cut up, it's fresh, and they'll have salad probably for lunch and maybe for supper. So that's my little tip today.
Awesome. Thank you again, Lynn. You're just such a wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much. All right, Miss Heather, do we have any questions in the chat that we can go over?
Yeah, there's one from Corinne Mack. We received a grant to purchase and wanted to know your recommendations to kick it off with the rest of the faculty.
Yes. Oh my gosh, how great is that? So if you want to just kick it off with the faculty and show the students, I would either do a planting party or start some sort of event where everybody can bring in their favorite seeds. To get everybody involved in the process is what's going to be so important for the involvement, and to show the kids how important it's going to be in the classroom to be amped up about it. I used to run events, so if I think of any more, I'll try to shoot me an email. I put my email in here. It's gibgrows@gmail.com. For anybody that wants the recording or to ask any questions if you weren't invited by anybody, just shoot me an email and I'll try to help you get some more ideas for events as well.
There's one more question, Nicole. Do we have time?
Absolutely.
Okay. Are there any videos on pollination? I grew peppers in my classroom last year. They would grow flowers. We would pollinate with Q-tip, but they never would produce fruit.
Isn't that so frustrating? Yes, we have all been there. I did cucumbers the first time and I had that same problem. So you definitely have to figure out your male versus female plants, because that's really, or flowers, because that's really important. But yes, there are a ton of videos on pollination, not only through the Tower Garden website. You can go to the blog and search pollination, but also on YouTube. And it doesn't even have to be a Tower Garden presentation. It can be any video. Just use self-pollination and whatever plant that you're doing. If it's cucumbers, if it's squash, just make sure to put that specific plant in so it can tell you what to look for in the female and the male plants.
Okay, do begin seeds, is it best to buy seedlings, start them in the tower, or start them under grow lights?
Great question, Tara. So I love to start from seeds or seedlings. It depends on when I want to harvest. So seeds take about 1 to 2 weeks, depending on what they are, to get to a seedling in order to place in the tower. And then your harvest will take place in about 4 to 5 weeks from then. So you're looking at about a 7 to 8 week harvesting time. If you want to cut that down to about 4 to 6 weeks, you can get seedlings. Those are ready to go, already are in the tower. So they are much faster. So you would see a harvest in about 4 to 5 weeks versus 6 to 8. Let's see, and then start them in the tower. So I typically never recommend this we, starting on the Tower Garden guide, it tells you just to put them in a propagation tray to start that process. Now, it would be really cool to see the difference. You know, why not start your propagation tray and then start some in the tower and see if the ones in the tower are just maybe getting too wet, or if the ones in the tray aren't getting enough sunlight. I think that would be really cool to compare. And in the winter time, yes, when you have your seeds inside in your propagation tray, it would be better to have them in the grow lights. I start all my seeds outside, so I do get to keep them in a partially shaded and sun environment. But yes, if you're going to be growing inside, definitely have them in your grow lights.
Okay, do schools have to use a form for usage from parents?
That's a great question. It is 100% up to your school district and your school. We've seen it where the county doesn't require it, but there's been an issue at a school and that school does require it. The wording will always be different. Most school systems that have those forms already have them for some sort of gardening or food process. Like we had to sign one for our daughter's class because somebody has a peanut allergy. So it's a liability form that we had to sign that we wouldn't send anything that had peanuts in it, but the school was able to give that to us. If for some reason your school does require something like that, if they don't have anything, you can definitely try to Google to see if there's one that has the appropriate wording, but I know that the school may need to have their lawyer review it just in case that comes into play.
I think Lynn already answered this question, but do you get bugs with seedlings?
So yes, so sometimes it's gardening. There can absolutely be bugs, but let me tell you, there's going to be about 98% less because they just don't have access through the soil and through the ground methods. There are some airborne guys that we actually like if you're growing outside. We love bees, we love pollinators, that you want them in your garden. There are some pests, but we always absolutely suggest using all natural methods to clear them out. And if for some reason you have some sort of infestation that happens with an aphid or a smaller subject like that, ladybugs are our best friend. They are an absolute best friend. Some people just get ladybugs to have. I thankfully been growing for about 2.5 years, minus the last 6 months because of my house. But I've been very, very grateful not to have any issues. And I did both indoor and outdoor growing. So great question. All right. Well, we made it under the 1 hour. I am just so absolutely thankful for everybody coming on tonight and learning more about Tower Gardens, how they're used in a learning environment. And I hope that we've inspired you. I hope we've given you some information to take home or take to school to make a good decision that will hopefully benefit the students that you're influencing. Definitely reach out to whoever invited you tonight. If you saw the event online and nobody invited you, if you want any help, just definitely email me at gibgrows@gmail.com. And email me too if you need. We put the links for the presentation and for Severin's interview in the chat. So if you didn't grab those, just shoot me an email and we'll make sure to get those to you. But thank you so much, everybody, and have a great evening.